Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Avatar, directed by James Cameron, his magnum opus as some people are saying. And to be honest, the thing that he has focused on for the past decades, or more than a decade, 15 years, 16 years or so. He's been focused on this for a long time, okay? But anyway, this movie released back in the year 2009, and while it may seem weird that I'm tackling this now because of the fact that I'm very much busy with the MCU, well, turns out my sister learned of the existence of the third movie coming out this December. So she asked me if I wanted to go. I'm like, yeah, sure. Hey, who says no to a free movie, right? Because the rule is, if I ask her to a movie, I have to pay. But if she asks me, she gets to pay. So, hey, free movie. Who's gonna say no to that, right? But since that's happening, why not review the other two movies in advance? And this is also gonna be part of a back and forth, kind of, with one little interruption in between. So I will explain that right now. So basically, this week I'm doing Avatar. Next week I'm gonna be giving you guys the review of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Then afterwards, the week after that, we will have Avatar: The Way of the Water. And then we have an interruption for a Pokemon movie. Then after that, we pick it right up with Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and finish it off with Avatar: Fire and Water. I think it was actually called the third movie. So it's gonna be a bit of a back and forth with one interruption because my sister also wants to go to Five Nights at Freddy's, so I thought I might make a bit of a marathon of it. So let's get into this movie then, shall we? So this movie is basically about, well, there's this planet in space called Pandora, and the humans have moved over there because of reasons, and also they want a mineral called unobtainium. Yes, that's actually what it's called. Don't ask me why. It's what it's called, okay? It's dumber than the name Transformium from Age of Extinction. This is even dumber. Anyway, but they want that. However, there are actual creatures on this planet, like a species called the Na'vi, and we kind of need them to move so that we can get what we want. And our main hero gets to be put into an avatar body, which is why it's called Avatar, in order to learn with the people. And that's all I'll say. So before I go into anything else, let me just say that this movie, to this day, is absolutely beautiful, and I now understand why this movie made so much money, because this is such a beautiful world that you just want to experience on the big screen. And I have something to admit as well, because of the fact that in 2009, this was on the schedule for me to go with my dad and my sister to the movie theater to watch. However, I declined. Yes, I decided against going to this movie. Don't ask me why. I don't remember. And from this day forward, I will regret that forever. Because, yeah, this movie's good. It's really good. It actually is really good. I have some problems with that, but that is going to be for later. So let's jump straight into the casting then, shall we? Starting off, we have Sam Worthington as our main character, Jake Sully. And you don't learn a lot about him. You learn enough about him to get going in that sense, about his life. But it's more about we get to experience Pandora with him. That is more what it is about, instead of necessarily his backstory, because that doesn't matter. He used to be a Marine. He has a brother who is sadly enough dead, which is how the movie opens. So don't tell me about spoilers. But because of the fact that his brother is dead is why he's allowed to be in this program. And also, he's in a wheelchair. That's all you need to know about his human life, because we have to experience his Na'vi, which is what the people are called, life. That life. And I loved going on this journey with him. He is fantastic in the role, and this man must be loaded because of how much money this movie has made. Anyway, after that, we have the co-star. We have Zoe Saldana, straight from, well, actually, this is before. You know what? It's actually weird because she is so prominent as Gamora in the MCU that I actually keep forgetting this movie came out before she was casting Guardians of the Galaxy. So she's not from the MCU. The MCU took her from Avatar. But anyway, Zoe Saldana portrays Neytiri, which, by the way, if the pronunciations of these Na'vi people is a little bit wrong, I'm sorry. This is the second time I've seen this movie, okay? And there's been about 16 or 15 years in between. So give me a break. I'm doing my best. I also had to take notes while watching the movie, and I am not looking forward to that spoiler talk. But anyway, she is also fantastic in the role. I love how she is the one who teaches Jake about the life on Pandora, and it is just beautiful the way that these two characters interact with each other. I loved her in the role. Then after that, we have Stephen Lang as Colonel Miles Quaritch, and let's talk about the problem with the movie, okay? And that's him. He's a problem in the movie. He is weaker in the movie. That is just what I'll say. I'll say that the actor does the best that he can, but to be honest, he is generic, very generic, and that is the biggest problem with this movie, is that the human element in this movie is just the most generic stuff that you can think of, okay? Everything is generic. Then after that, we have Michelle Rodriguez as Captain Tsu'tey, and I like her in the role. She's also from the Fast and the Furious franchise, which actually, when she came, like before she came on screen, she's like, her introduction is basically her talking before we get to see her. I was like, I know that voice. Aren't you from Fast and the Furious? And then we get to see her. I'm like, yeah, it's you. But anyway, she's good in the movie. She is basically our eyes in the sky. She's a pilot. That's what she is. But I liked her in the movie. Then after that, we have Giovanni Ribisi as Parker. Basically the boss of this whole thing. He's basically the boss of the whole thing, because every time there's a problem, people go to him. So I consider him the boss. And he's fine. He's actually very entertaining with the way that he acts. But like, he doesn't really get a lot of character, but he gets a lot of entertaining stuff. Let's just say that. Then after that, we have Joel David Moore as Dr. Norm Spellman, the person who has actually studied how to be a Navi. Unlike Jake, who kind of just gets thrown into this. But yeah, he's actually studied being a Navi for a long time, and he arrives with Jake. After that, we have CCH Pounder as Moat, the spiritual leader of the Navi. But I don't know how to pronounce the place. But basically, also the mother of Neytiri. And she's good in the movie. There's one point in the movie that I actually did not expect from her, which I like that, you know, they were able to surprise me. Then after that, we have Laz Alonso as Tsu'tey, the finest warrior of the Navi, and also going to be the tribe leader, or at least future tribe leader. And I liked him as well, kind of like the rival in that sense to our Jake, which is great. And then finally, we have Sigourney Weaver as Dr. Grace Augustine. She is the one who developed the Avatar program, and I like her a lot in the movie as well. And that's the casting. And overall, this movie is beautiful. It's really well made, but one problem is the writing, mainly for the humans. The humans are as generic as they can be, which can be kind of like a like low point. And I guess the first time that I watched it, I kind of was expecting this ultimate masterpiece with fantastic story, and then seeing the whole like human element being a little bit weaker kind of soured my experience of the movie, because I always heard from people that this movie was absolutely perfect, and then it's like, yeah, but that wasn't perfect, so maybe it's not as perfect as people think it is. However, rewatching it, I can 100% say that that does not detract from the actual experience of the movie, because the human element is not important to the movie. It's all about learning with the Navi, and also about Pandora and its wonderful creatures and wonderful lore that you get in this movie. It is overall fantastic. There's also another thing that I have a problem with, but it's a little bit of a spoiler, but basically I'll try to keep it spoiler free. Basically, there is something really difficult that happens really quickly in this movie. Like, Jake does something in this movie that is supposed to be difficult. However, the reason that happened is because of like a big entrance. Let's say that. Okay, that's as spoiler free as I can give it, but those are like the two small problems that I have with this movie. But overall, let's get into final verdict. So my final verdict for Avatar is going to be a 10 out of 10. I gotta give it a 10 out of 10. I love the look. I love the journey that we get taken on. I love the emotions that I felt throughout this movie. I cared so much, like 2 hours into this thing, which, by the way, this thing is a behemoth. But like 2 hours into this movie, I fully cared about the world and the creatures on it, and I wasn't expecting to fall so in love with Pandora, which actually, when I went into this thing, I kind of had a sour feeling going into it, like, ugh, like I have to do this movie. But now the only thing that I'm sour on is the length, because that's gonna make my spoiler talk a little bit difficult to talk about. But overall, James Cameron really outdid himself with this movie. So let me know what you guys thought about this movie in the comment section down below. And with that being said, thank you all so very much for watching, and I do hope you guys have enjoyed enjoyed. And if you did, please like button, subscribe if you're new for else already. Turn on notifications. Don't forget, check out the Let's Play channel, link in the description and at the end of the video. And I'll see you guys in about an hour for that spoiler talk that's going to be very difficult to make. And also next week for my review of Five Nights at Freddy's. Bye!